Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. And the Brian Craig Show, of course, is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. If you're in Florida and you need a roof repair or replacement, residential, commercial, or municipal, Tom Laporta can help. And he'll never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at laportaroofing.com. Okay, just all kinds of major news is broken today, which is very, very unusual because we're a couple of days away from Thanksgiving. And these holiday period between Thanksgiving and the first of the year usually are just dead zones in the news. And most people that are in my line of work take off this time. It's when they take their vacations because it's tough, right? Because usually the news is slow. And anytime Trump is in the mix, the news is not slow during normal slow news times. And there's a lot of big news that has come out today about and because of Donald Trump. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. Now, the first one, the big one is Jack Smith went to the judge to dismiss the J6 charges against Donald Trump. This is the rats fleeing the sinking ship. The sinking ship, I guess, SS Never Trumper or something. I don't know what they call the ship. But Jack Smith, not only should the charges be just totally dismissed, Jack Smith and Merrick Garland and all the people involved in all of that should be arrested, and they should be the ones that are facing charges because, I mean, it's so obvious what happened here, right? They came up with a bunch of fake charges to try to stop him from getting nominated. Right? And now that that's all failed and he's become president, they're in a panic because Pam Bondi's coming in. Trump's coming back, of course, because without Trump, there's no Pam Bondi and all this other stuff. Kash Patel is FBI director. They're in a panic.
This is like more than just a changing of the guard. This is a complete government overhaul. I don't know of any other time in history where this has ever happened. That I know of, where you have the deep state, which is ensconced in Washington, usually like when Trump was first president, you know, there were a lot of people there that were in Washington, lived in Washington, that worked with him, that were appointed and this and that. This is totally different now. He is appointing his people that are going to push through his agenda. He's not appointing anybody that's really connected to D.C. I mean, I think the closest one he has is Rubio, who's a senator, and he's really not in D.C. very much at all. And I believe he will run the country mostly from Mar-a-Lago and stay out of D.C. But this is a total overhaul of the government in a good way.
Well, this thing with Jack Smith today, I mean, the way it's being it's just happening. So, you know. It's
such a waste of time and money and energy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just breaking. So how this develops over the next few days with what's left of the Never Trumper media is not fully known. But the way it's being handled now is really disgusting because the way it's being spun now, and again, this could change by, you know, an hour from now because people are still processing it because it's just breaking. But they're positioning it like, oh, well, Jack Smith's moving to dismiss these charges because the Justice Department has a longstanding policy of not prosecuting sitting presidents, and he's going to be the sitting president, That's not what happened here, okay? It is not because of that. It is because there never was a case. And, you know, all these cases, the first one where they went after Trump was that Bragg case, right? This is what they thought every step of the way, these lawfare cases. And the lawfare cases are not only the Jack Smith case, the Bragg case, Letitia James case, the Fannie Willis cases, and all this stuff, okay? This is what they thought. They don't understand MAGA people. They have a very negative, pretty much racial stereotype of MAGA people. If you notice all these seminar callers I get that are fake MAGA on the show.
And by the way, the country is mostly MAGA.
They claim to be from Kentucky, and they're like, I'm John, I'm calling from Kentucky. You know, every time I hear that, I know it's a seminar caller. So since they have no idea what MAGA people are like, and they just have, I'm talking about the Jack Smiths, the Never Trumpers, the establishment, the lawfare people.
Right.
They just have this negative stereotype of what MAGA people are like. And this is what they told themselves before the first thing with Bragg. when Trump had to go to New York to get indicted, right? They said to themselves, you know, these MAGA crazies, that's what they call us, right? These MAGA crazies. They're all married to their cousins and all this stuff, but they support the law. They back the blue. They support the law. If we just arrest Donald Trump, if we get him indicted, these MAGA, this is what they told themselves, these MAGA crazies will drop him. So they took him up to New York with this Bragg case, and America was shocked by this, and I think Bragg was shocked by this too. They didn't get a mugshot. They didn't get the mugshot. So they told themselves, when MAGA rallied around Trump after that, oh, okay, yeah, they're still supporting him, but because there wasn't a mugshot, they don't realize he's been arrested. So then they came up with all these other cases, and they finally got the mugshot with Fannie, and then he posed for it in a very dramatic model-like photograph mugshot, best mugshot ever taken. Yeah. And through all of these cases, the support for Donald Trump has gotten stronger, firmer, and larger and larger and larger. Mm-hmm. And now that he's been reelected, there's no point to them anymore. None of these cases are real cases. They're all, they're trumped-up charges against Trump. They're all fake charges. None of these cases have any merit to them. And the way that it's being handled is wrong. Jack Smith should apologize, and Merrick Garland, they should apologize to Trump, and not just Trump. What about all these people around Trump that have had their lives destroyed? How many people did Fannie Willis arrest? People like Roger Stone have gone bankrupt because they have to hire these high-priced D.C. lawyers. They lose all their money. They're totally bankrupt. Some of these people have probably lost their homes. They've lost their careers. Some of them have been disbarred over this lawfare. And plus, they put the whole country through it. So this is, this is a pretty big deal today.
The lies, the time, the money, the energy. I mean, what do Democrats do other than try to F people over and F over the country?
Yeah.
That is all they spend their time doing. Do they ever do anything that helps Americans? No. Now the governor of Illinois wants all the illegals to go to him. Well, guess what? You're not going to get money for that. Trump's going to cut off your federal funding, and you're going to bankrupt the whole state. So go to Illinois. They're blue. Go to Illinois. Go have a good time. I promise you that state will be red very quickly, very quickly. Sending these illegals to these states like that are blue that want to harbor them, they will lose their money, and other things are going to happen. And those residents there are going to get tired of supporting these people. And DeSantis came out and said any official that tries to stop Trump or Tom Homan will be arrested. Mm-hmm. So he said Florida. This is not a sanctuary state. No. And if you try to get in their way, like if you're a sheriff and you do not comply, you will go to jail. And I'm glad he came out and said that. And I would like to see other governors. See, that's where DeSantis shines, is, when he says things like that and does things like that. And he means it. He will do that. For whatever his reasons, he's consistently been in line with things like that. Yeah. I'd like to see other governors do that as well. I'm sure Greg Abbott will.
Let him go to Illinois. It makes it easier for Holman to round him up. He knows where they all are.
That's exactly right. These liberals are so stupid, because if they all go to just 3 or 4 states, then they all know where they are.
So President Trump,
thanks for helping.
He responded to what Jack Smith dropping these charges today, and he actually posted this on X.
Yes,
which he posts on from time to time, but not too much. So this is what President Trump posted on X just a few minutes ago. These cases, like all of the other cases I've been forced to go through, are empty and lawless and should never have been brought. Over $100 million of taxpayer dollars has been wasted in the Democrat Party's fight against their political opponent, me. Nothing like this has ever happened in our country before. They've also used state prosecutors and district attorneys such as Fannie Willis and her lover, Nathan Wade, who had absolutely zero experience in cases such as this, but was paid millions, enough for them to take numerous trips and cruises around the globe. Letitia James, who inappropriately, unethically, and probably illegally campaigned on getting Trump in order to win political office, and Alvin Bragg, who himself never wanted to bring this case against me, but was forced to do so by the Justice Department and the Democrat Party. It was a political hijacking and a low point in the history of our country that such a thing could have happened. And yet I persevered against all odds and won. Make America great again. Now, this thing he's talking about with Bragg.
He must feel really good today.
Yeah, remember, they sent a top guy from the Justice Department to work under Bragg to get this. That's
right. I remember that.
Very illegal collusion. And Pam Bondi's going to go in, and a lot of these people are going to go to jail. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people leave the country for real. You know, liberals are always promising to leave the country. Some of these people might actually flee to places where they don't have extradition.
I think they will, because I think that they are genuinely afraid, and Trump's not going to go after anybody in the press or anything like that.
No.
He is just going to expose and go after people that went against the law to try to imprison him and his family
Kathy,
and coworkers.
These are like,
I mean, what they did was wrong.
These are like police officers who plant evidence.
Yeah.
Is what these prosecutors
exactly right.
and people are at the Justice Department. These are like bad cops.
I'd really like him to get that footage from the raid on his house.
I hope he releases all of it.
I'd
so
love
we can
Kash
see what
Patel
they did.
to release that footage. But, you know, I wonder how much stuff is being destroyed, like Hillary with the server that she smashed.
Well, that
with
was
a hammer.
different.
How much
because
evidence is being destroyed right now?
I don't think that much, because when things are in the government servers, they're all over the place. When Hillary destroyed all that stuff, those were like in her private servers and phones for her campaign and at her house. So it's not the same thing as when it's in the government servers. I don't think it's so easy.
The government's there
to
now.
do that. But a lot of people, never Trumpers and liberals in the media, think that if Trump and Pam Bondi go after these people, it's revenge. It's not. These are like bad cops, like I said, planting evidence and lying under oath to arrest people that are not guilty of crimes. You go to prison for that. And this has to stop, because if this becomes some new normal, this is dangerous. You know, we just won the election. We won everything. But at some point in the future, the Democrats are going to be back in power. And if
hopefully not for a long,
well, hopefully
time.
not for 100 years, but it's you know, the cycle of politics. It's going to happen. And if these lawfare crazies are allowed to get away with this, well, we won and they dropped the charge. Okay, you know, they'll do it again to the next Republican that they don't like when they're back in power. No, this has to happen. And Pam Bondi does not mess around. She does not mess around.
No.
She was our attorney general for 2 terms here in Florida. She's pretty hardcore when it comes to these things. She's like a real law and order person. And you can see, you know, how DeSantis is talking about arresting any government officials who obstruct the deportations. That's what Florida Republicans are like. They're not like these Republicans you see, oh, well, let's make friends with the Democrats. The Florida, because Pam Bondi's Florida, you know, the Florida Republicans are pretty no-nonsense, tough people.
Pam Bondi is a very important figure. First of all, I learned the other day that the guy she was running against, she hired him as one of her deputies when she beat him, which I think says a lot about her. But she is a very important figure because she is very MAGA, very, very MAGA. There's no doubt about that. But she also has friends that are deep state rhinos. And it's not that she's on their side, but they like her and they respect her and they're friends with her. And she's kind of that bridge, I think, will act as a bridge. Not that he needs that, but what I'm saying is, for example, Anna Navarro, who's on The View, is a big connected to the Bushes and hates Trump and this and that, whatever, you know, which is stupid. But she's supposed to be, you know, some Cuban conservative. But she defended Pam Bondi. She said, I know her, I'm friends with her, and she's very nice, and she's very good. She said, I have nothing bad to say about her. That's a deep state person. So she is somebody who gets praises from both sides.
Yeah.
Which is good in the sense that she might be able to be that bridge that can help with messaging and help Trump if he runs into any pushback. She knows a lot of people in the government. She's good friends with DeSantis. She's good friends with Matt Gaetz. She's friends with everybody. They all like her. She's very well liked here in Florida, but she is a MAGA person. There is nothing that is not MAGA about this woman. I have never seen anything about her attacking Trump. She has been on Fox. She has been at Trump rallies. She has never done or said anything against MAGA or Trump that I can think of ever. She is pure MAGA all the way. So she's a great pick. She's tough, like you said. And she is all interested and all about exposing these people. She's going to help Trump do this. And she's even talked about this when she was campaigning for him, the lawfare.
Well,
she talked about it specifically. And I think that's why he chose her, because that is the main job he wants the AG to get to the bottom of.
The thing about
lawfare.
Okay, now one thing they're saying is, she's connected with Jeb
Not
Bush.
Connected, she just knows them.
Well, people got to understand
they're friendly. She knows everybody.
Well, people have to understand something. Jeb Bush was the governor of Florida for 8 years. He was a very good governor. He got weird in 2016, but before that, he was a very good governor. And before he was governor, he was the party boss of the Republican Party in Florida for a long time. Okay, and he was governor for 8 years. So there's hardly anyone in Florida Republican politics that doesn't have some connection to Jeb Bush, because he was running the party for 20 years in Florida. Okay, 15, 20 years.
I'm not saying she's connected. Everybody respects her, is what I mean, on both sides. They all respect her. And that is hard to find, because in this political world, everybody's got a side. Trump or no Trump. That's it. You pick a side, and, Dennis Quaid said.
Yeah.
But everybody that is MAGA and everybody that's anti-Trump likes this woman. And it's because she's good at her job, and she's tough, and she is respected. And she is on Trump's side. She is, no doubt about it.
She was one of his attorneys
exactly
4 years
She's
ago.
been with him the whole time.
Now, I want to tell everybody we got Black Fridays coming up, right? Because it's Thanksgiving week, big Christmas shopping week. There are huge Christmas specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. Now, remember, every time you buy a MyPillow product, you're supporting not just the podcast, but my YouTube channel and the radio show and all the content I bring to you. And that's greatly appreciated. And Mike Lindell's been with us for many, many years now. And I talk pretty much every week to his assistant and everything, and they let me know how things are going. And since the time that Mike Lindell started advertising with us years ago on the program, they have, every time I talk to them, are blown away at the massive support that they get from this audience. They mention it to me all the time. There are a lot of people that are household names around the world, okay? Some of the big name conservatives. You guys show more support for me and Mike Lindell than some of these big time guys that are on hundreds of radio stations and things like that. People it's really amazing. So I appreciate all of your support. So go to MyPillow.com. The Christmas specials are up there. If you're an employer and you're buying gifts for your employees, there's such incredible deals on the MyPillows that you can do a mass buy on MyPillows or the robes or the slippers. Same goes if you have a lot of family members, like a big family get-together. You got grandkids or kids you got to buy for a lot of cousins or brothers, sisters, and extended nieces and nephews. The MyPillow products are great for people of all ages, and at the prices you see there now with our promo code Kane at checkout, you can really do bulk buying. And remember, it's free shipping on orders over $75.
It's perfect for people that are hard to shop for. There's always somebody you just don't know what to get them.
Absolutely.
Or if you know somebody who is getting married or just got married or anything like that. But I think when there's somebody you just don't know quite sure what to get them, I think you can always find something there. Linens and pillows and things like that. Those are always nice to give someone.
Yep. Promo code
and they'll use them.
Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
In a world where young men often grapple with finding purpose and setting clear priorities, the 4 Trees of Life, available on Amazon, stands as a beacon of hope and direction. This step-by-step guide addresses the common pitfalls leading to obesity, drug addiction, financial instability, loneliness, and depression. Have you ever wondered how to attain a fulfilling life? Look no further. The 4 Trees of Life unveils the secrets to mastering the 4 key areas of life, ensuring you maintain a perfect balance among among them. When you read The 4 Trees of Life, you'll discover how to achieve the physique you've always dreamed of, how to watch your bank account figures grow steadily, how to attract and build meaningful relationships with the right people. The 4 Trees of Life is filled with practical advice as well as actionable steps and will become your roadmap to transforming your life. Don't become another lost young man. Seize this opportunity to become the man the world needs, because a world without strong men is a world destined to fail. Transform your life today with The 4 Trees of Life, available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy now and start your journey to a life that every man deserves. It's the year 2061, and the world is facing its ultimate challenge, a planet ravaged by climate disaster, and humanity's survival hangs by a thread. From author Jihan Kang comes the book, The Gate of Decade, available on Amazon. The Gate of Decade is a story of 2 men battling for the future of Earth. Kangman, a visionary corporate leader, builds Second Chance Island. It's a refuge for millions, but he soon uncovers a chilling truth. The climate's destruction is no accident. Matthew was the leader of a shadowy organization with a ruthless plan to create a new world order, a world where only a chosen few can survive. The fight for humanity takes an unexpected turn when Kangman consumes the mysterious 10-year herb, which thrust him back in time to rewrite history. With deception at every corner, an unexpected twist, The Gate of Decade will take you on an unforgettable journey of personal growth, relentless ambition, and hope in the face of despair. Don't miss this thrilling, mind-bending saga that's set against a world on the brink. Order your copy of The Gate of Decade from author Jihan Kang on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. The paperback edition is coming soon. The Gate of Decade on Amazon. Order your copy right now. Being prepared isn't about fear, it's about readiness. Stakeholder Prepping is a podcast that will help you prepare for life's unexpected challenges without all that doom and gloom you hear everywhere else. Hosted by Chris, he's a former U.S. Army sniper team member, and AC, he's a government contractor and homesteader. Stakeholder Prepping delivers actionable insights for preppers at every level. Whether you're just starting out and have a small budget, or you've been prepping for years, Stakeholder Prepping has something for you. Each episode features informative discussions and expert guests on topics like living off the grid, 1800 style, bartering essentials and skills, first aid prepping tips, and so much more. Stakeholder Prepping shares a no-nonsense approach to being ready for whatever comes your way. Add Stakeholder Prepping to your Spotify playlist right now and be your own stakeholder. Stakeholder Prepping on Spotify. Are you 55 and feel like life's best moments are in the rearview mirror? Think again. Author Michael Cook will show you that turning 55 is just the beginning of a vibrant, fulfilling journey in his book, Over 55 and Alive. With humor, heartfelt stories, as well as actionable, practical advice, author Michael Cook will take you on a transformative path through the joys and the challenges of this milestone. When you read Over 55 and Alive, you'll discover how to embrace change, foster meaningful relationships, and unlock new passions. You will learn how to thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally in your golden years. From maintaining your health and building resilience to finding joy in those everyday moments, Over 55 and Alive will empower you to live with vitality and with purpose. Author Michael Cook shares insights on family dynamics, community involvement, and the power of gratitude to create a life that's rich with both experiences and connections. Embrace the future with grace and confidence and order your copy of Over 55 and Alive from author Michael Cook. You will be inspired to live fully and prove that the best is yet to come. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Over55andalive.com. Make the most of every moment. Order your copy today. Over 55 and Alive from author Michael Cook.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I'm going to play this audio. This is the CEO of Axios. And this is going viral today, and he's just having a meltdown over the state of citizen journalism.
Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media. You are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. Wow. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah, come on. Okay, then they go on. Morning Joe praises the guy, which I'm not going to play that guy. But
does he really think that little speech is going to shift things back?
Well, here's the thing, okay, about the citizen journalism. Citizen journalism, so far as I know, and again, somebody may have used this before, but first time I ever heard citizen journalism and citizen journalist was from Andrew Breitbart. Mm-hmm. And when Andrew Breitbart, he was on an interview, he said with this, he was holding a cell phone. He says, "You're all citizen journalists," and it was a flip phone, but you could take some video on those. Remember, and it was very hard to. I never texted on those. It was a nightmare. Remember, we had like all the different letters for it. It was a mess. But he said, with these, everyone's a citizen journalist. And this thing with Axios. When's the last time any of the major news outlets have broken stories? In the last week, the biggest breaking news that a journalist did, it was Thursday or Friday, it was Megyn Kelly got a hold of the police report that this woman made about Pete Hegseth with these fake allegations. And she went, this blew me away, okay, because they got this fake allegation against Pete Hegseth that he was accused of rape. And they're out there calling him a rapist. It's not true. Megyn Kelly got the police report that the woman filed out in Monterey. It had all the details from the investigation of the police, and she went through it. And I watched every second of that show of hers, okay? It's fat. You guys should go and watch it. But just to give you the capsulized summary of it, the woman was at this hotel that Pete Hegseth was at with her husband. And she met Pete Hegseth at the bar. Pete Hegseth was hitting on another woman who wasn't interested, but she was coming on to him. He's
a handsome guy.
She went back to Pete Hegseth's room and had sex with him in the same hotel that her husband was at. Mm-hmm. She goes back to the hotel room with her husband at 4 a.m., and he obviously knew she had sex, and
yeah, I think you could tell.
And she knew she got busted. It's a little much more detailed than this. I'm just giving you. She knew she got busted, and came up with this "I was raped" story.
Yeah,
and her husband has to be a complete idiot, and I would imagine the woman is not too happy right now because everyone knows that she screwed around on her husband, she lied, and all this stuff. But Megyn Kelly had the actual police report. She went through the entire thing. She went through it, highlighted, went through it all, broke it down, gave analysis, explained everything as she went through the police report on her program. It was either Thursday or Friday. And that's journalism. And she's in the new media. She's not with Fox anymore. She's not with any major outlet.
She's on YouTube.
And if you go on X or different websites or programs like I have, and like the podcast here with Kathy and I, or my YouTube channel, radio, all of you and us, we are the new journalist, okay? And media bias, people when they think about media, this is what has Axios and for some reason they brought Brian Stelter back on CNN to get his comments on things. I don't know who's interested in that.
Nobody.
But
Brian Stelter.
Yeah.
That's about it.
When people talk about media bias, they think it's a slant on a story, like an angle on a story, and that can be bias. That's a form of media bias. But most of the media bias is based on what stories they choose to cover and not cover.
Here's the deal.
Like this Pete Hegseth police report, okay? That's available to everyone. It's It's online. No one but Megyn Kelly has done something with that. They're all the media, like this guy here who's screaming, "Where are the journalists? Where are the journalists?" My goodness,
he just woke up the cats.
He sounds like Margaret Hamilton here. This guy, if you don't know, Google it if you don't know who that is. And you'll agree.
I know who that is.
I
think we all know.
Not everybody knows Margaret Hamilton. Look her up. But they're sitting on that story because they don't like Pete Hegseth and they know what he will do as Secretary of Defense. So they're not covering this story like Megyn Kelly did. That's where most of the media bias is. And what has the media frustrated, whether it's Scarborough or Stelter or this Axios guy, they know it. Their problem is they no longer can control the narrative. And what the mainstream legacy media have been doing since it's existed, since the days of the newspapers, and the telegram, they've been able to decide what people cared about, what they were consumed with, and what they wanted to happen.
And who they voted for.
And what issues they cared about, and what positions they took on those issues, and what they thought about and they can no longer control that.
Right.
And in fact, it's an opposite effect. If no one believes them anymore. And like as an example, we're coming up. There's just a couple months till Trump comes back. Of course, Trump is going to do a lot of big things. There's 3 things in particular that he's going to do early on, right? Story came out today. He's going to discharge the 15,000 plus transgendered people in the military.
Yep, that'll be good.
The deportations, and 3 is these aren't the only 3 things he's going to do, but these are 3, just for the purposes of this conversation I'm bringing up, the pardons of J6ers, okay? In the old days, like if this were the 80s or 90s, or even before the 80s, right, but this was up until the 90s, the media would be able to take any one of those stories and turn the American people against Trump on them. If this were the 90s and he did the deportations, okay? With the deportations as an example, okay? All these Democrats, mayors and governors, we're not going to cooperate. We're going to obstruct. The one guy's talking about Tiananmen Square. And I was talking this morning, right now, the Democrats are planning incidents around the country that they think will be high profile, where they're going to harbor illegals. And they're going to and they envision that they'll have Tom Homan outside on the boo horn. Come out, where you're being deported. And they're going to have like a Branch Davidian Waco standoff, right? They're setting, it's not going to work. The reason it's not going to work is because nobody trusts the media, and they can't drive the American people in a direction they want anymore, the establishment. They've lost the country in the media.
Well, here's what happened. You have because they've been lying to people for so long about Trump. Probably been lying. Look at Dan Rather. He lied about George Bush. He made up a document. I mean, this is not new.
It's insane.
But because of social media, their lies are being exposed. And because Elon Musk is allowing the lies to be exposed, that's what's happening. Even MSNBC, when Trump won, they lost half their audience. Those weren't MAGA people they lost. Those were their own people. Even they're sick of their crap. And they're like, you lied to us. You didn't deliver what you promised. And Trump's Hitler, but Biden says there's going to be a peaceful transition and he's having them over for tea.
Exactly.
I mean, so nobody trusts the media. They lie. They're finally being exposed for who they are. And that's why they can't handle it. And you're right. They're into propaganda. And
propaganda, that's right.
They can't propagandize anymore. But this thing about the illegals, my dad was telling me a story the other day because I remember in the 70s and 80s, they used to round up illegals all the time. It was even a storyline on the Golden Girls.
See, that was what what was the I Was Born in East LA with Cheech Marin. That's what that song and movie was
about. And my dad said, my dad worked in the mobile home. My grandma owned a mobile home park, and my dad worked in that business and sold mobile homes and everything for his whole career, basically. And he was managing this huge park, and he said there was a lawn crew that would come in, which I don't think he was managing the park at the time because he said, I didn't know who hired them, but he was selling mobile homes in there. And this wasn't my grandmother's park. This was a big, big park. But my dad had sold homes in there, so he knew it was in and out of the place. And he said one time he was there, and there was like a guard gate for people to go into, in and out. And he said there was a huge lawn crew there. And he said all of a sudden, because he was in the office, there were like 8 cars that came in, like they looked like, official. And they came in through the guard gate, and the guard gate guy let them in. They flashed their badges. And the manager went up to them and said, what are you doing here and all this? And he said, don't worry about it. He flashed a badge. He said, just don't worry about it. And my dad said they went into the park and they rounded up the entire lawn crew and arrested the owner, who was American, because everybody was an illegal. And this was in the 80s. He said that's what they used to do all the time. And he said, he said, I remember it happening all the time with people that had roofing crews and lawn crews. And I remember that too. On TV, they talked about it all the time.
Well, they would go.
This is not a new thing that Trump is doing. They used to do this all the time.
I remember this. They used to go around and ask for green card. If you remember, Born in East L.A.
I never saw that movie.
Well, it was a song that was a hit. Then they made a movie, and J. Michael Vincent was in the video for the song, and then later in the movie, and he played the Border Patrol guy and says, "Where's your green card, son?" And they even made that movie with Gerard Depardieu, Green Card. Right? And that used to be a thing. I don't even know if they have green cards anymore. I think they've just spent, you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
They've just been, and I do remember when they used to do enforcement like that too.
Yes, they would round people up and deport them all the time.
They used to go to places where they have these work pools.
Exactly.
Like they have them now.
They know where to find them.
And they would go there and arrest people, and you would see it in the local news all the time. That stopped years ago.
Young people don't know that because they weren't alive in the 70s and 80s. Some even in the 90s, but it was very common. It was on the news all the time where this kind of stuff was happening, and that is how they kept things under control, and they basically stopped doing that. So what Trump is doing is just bringing that back. They're going to go around and find people, and believe me, Tom Homan posted last week a bunch of numbers to report people about it, and people are going to be reporting people. I know this guy, he's got a lawn crew or whatever, or he has this company, and the people that work there, they might be children that work there that I think are undocumented and this and that, and they're going to be looking for those kids. So it's been done in the past, and they're just bringing that back.
It's tough because, the thing about illegals, they like to think, because these Hollywood people all have these home slaves, right? The illegal housekeepers and stuff out in Hollywood. So they think that, that the illegals just are like slave labor,
Well, the Democrats are into human trafficking. They always have been.
The illegals take a lot of skilled jobs. Construction crews that have illegals in them. Those are skilled jobs that are very highly skilled trades jobs. And even, the lawn crews in our neighborhood, the guy we have, who I've had problems with, but he's an American, and he doesn't hire illegals. Mm-hmm. And when I first hired him, he was telling me it's tough because he doesn't hire illegals, mm-hmm. and he does everything above the board, and he's got his competition mm-hmm. are all these lawn crews around that are illegals. And they don't charge as much because they don't have to, because they don't pay taxes and they don't pay them hardly any money, and who knows what kind of situation they have them in. And I think that what the media and the Democrats, they're going to be shocked at how much support there is for these deportations. They have in their mind
that the
country's going to turn against them on it and be against they don't know what they voted for, these MAGA
people. They did a
people.
poll on CBS, and the majority of people are for it. It's too much, and we're supporting these people that are coming in. It's not like the immigrants that came in the early 20th century that got jobs and worked and contributed. Nobody's against immigrants. We're all product of immigrants. What we're against is these people coming in en masse that are not vetted. Like even Bill Clinton said, if they were vetted, Lake and Riley would probably be alive today.
That's right.
They're not vetted. There was just a video Tom Homan posted yesterday about a little 2-year-old girl. It was all over the news today, who came into the country with a note with no parents. She doesn't know where her parents are. What's her story? 2 years old, doesn't speak English, obviously. She looked like she's about 2.5. They didn't show her face. But She
said she was 2. She held up her fingers and said dose.
Dose. But she could be like almost 3, because she's, seems a little older than just like a new 2-year-old.
2 is toddler. And
she's a toddler. She's a toddler, and she's without her mom and dad.
And she has a note, like on a Post-it note with a phone number. What if she lost that Post-it note?
This is human trafficking. The Democrats, they shipped people across in the transatlantic human trafficking slave trade. They were party to that, and then when that was shut down, They started, for lack of a better phrase, breeding people on their farms and selling them that way when they couldn't ship them across from Africa. But they've always been into shipping people in for cheap labor or slave labor. They're doing it today.
Well, this thing
I don't know
with
how
this,
you can support this party. This is what they've always been about.
This thing with this 2-year-old girl.
It's disgusting.
I was watching. I can't.
That's awful.
It was on Fox. I think I saw this on Fox today, and they did the story on the little girl. And then in that same story where the little girl was, the cameraman went and there were all these young girls in line, and they were asking them how old they were and where they were going. They were all 16 and 17-year-old girls.
Where do you think they're going to end up?
They're sex slaves. They're being brought up. There's no adults with them, And
they said that these young people,
they're prostitutes, is what
are
they
being kidnapped from their homes to be trafficked here.
Yeah.
And so this is what Trump, I'm hoping, and Tom Homan will get to the bottom of, this chain of command, where these people are coming from, where these young kids are coming from, and who's profiting off of this, and how they're getting to the border, who's transporting them, and where they end up, most importantly. And, Trump has got so many responsibilities on his plate in such a short time. And he is hiring very competent people to do this. But this is a huge job for Tom Homan. But Trump said there is no price tag on this. So he is going to give him a huge staff. And the local sheriffs and law enforcement will have to work with them, whether they like it or not. And you have all these governors and mayors. I'll go to jail. Fine. You'll go to jail.
Let them
That's
go.
what'll happen.
They can put them in their own jails.
Tom Homan's not going to stop for anybody. This is what this guy was born to do. It seems like if you watch his videos and follow him on X, he's amazing. And he is really disgusted by this human trafficking going on and these children they can't find. Mm-hmm. And he's going to get to the bottom of this. But this video of this little girl is absolutely horrifying. It's horrifying.
Awful. Yeah, and I know. It's insane.
This is Biden's America.
Now, I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. This laser wave pain treatment is absolutely amazing. You guys have heard me many times talk about the 6 times that Dr. Appleton has rid me with pain. I'll talk about the first time in my knee. My knee pain, I started having this severe knee pain when I was 19, 20 years old. And about 2.5 years ago, I went to see Dr. Appleton, and he treated me. And after 2 treatments, the pain was gone and has not returned. And I suffered with that pain for, I guess, 30 years. Right? 30 years, especially this time of year, right? Like when it gets to the cold winters, months like we're getting into now in Florida.
And down here, a lot of people feel more pain when it rains.
Yeah, and when in the rainy season, and it was really bad pain. In fact, my knee pain was so bad, sometimes I wouldn't be able to function. The pain would get so bad, I would just lay down and want to go to sleep. It was really bad. And after just 2 treatments with his laser wave pain treatment, my knee pain was gone. It has not returned, and it's been about 2.5 years. And when Dr. Appleton has treated me for pain, the reason it hasn't returned is because the laser treatment repairs the damage that causes the pain. It's absolutely amazing. It works on every type of pain I've ever heard of and a bunch of pains I've never heard of. It really works. It is absolutely amazing. It is 100% painless. There's no shots, no injections, no downtime. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. And while he's here in Florida, in Pompano, we've had listeners fly to Florida from all over America to seek treatment from Dr. Appleton. And you've heard some of them in the recorded commercials I play on the radio. They've called me on the air spot just out of the blue and told me what a great job he's done giving them their life back. Give him a call. Now, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome, including on Saturdays because he's open on Saturdays. But if you're coming in from out of town, I'd call ahead and make an appointment, all right, just to be, you want to be on the safe side. But again, walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are never necessary because Dr. Appleton knows when you're in pain, you need help, you need relief, and you need it now. Here's his number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. That's AppletonChiro.com. Make sure you tell Dr. Appleton Brian said hi.
And he's open till 6 o'clock, which is nice. If you have to go after work, most doctors close at 5. I just checked. He is open until 6.
Yep, he's open late.
Swing by after work if you need to.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take our last break and be back in just a moment. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Don't go anywhere.
The world we knew is gone. Humanity's future rests on Horizon Moon. Chemical Rocketeers is a sci-fi podcast that dares you to embark on the ultimate journey of survival, exploration, and triumph against the odds. In a post-apocalyptic universe, the Rocketeer colony stands as humanity's last hope. They're a resilient group of survivors who are fighting to rebuild civilization after Earth's nuclear devastation. Each mission they take is a test of courage. Every choice, a battle for survival. From heart-pounding action to moments of unity and hope, Chemical Rocketeers invite you to explore an intricate world where mysteries unfold, alliances are forged, and the spark of humanity's legacy burns bright. Join Rocketeer Colony and become a part of the story on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. For exclusive content and behind-the-scenes glimpses, find them on Instagram and TikTok. The universe is waiting. Are you ready to rise with the Rocketeers? Add Chemical Rocketeers to your podcast playlist right now. Do you ever find yourself wondering about the stories behind the things we think we already know? Dive into Discovery is the podcast where curiosity is the compass and every topic is an adventure waiting to unfold. Each week, Dive into Discovery peels back the layers on fascinating topics, from groundbreaking science and untold history to innovation and culture, revealing insights that make you see the world in a whole new way. If you ever thought you knew the whole story, think again. Tune into Dive into Discovery and find conversations that spark wonder, challenge your perspectives, and satisfy even the deepest curiosities. Dive into Discovery is on Spotify, Apple Podcast, SiriusXM, and wherever you get your podcast. Add Dive into Discovery, where every story, familiar or new, has something more to reveal, to your podcast playlist and join the adventure. Dive into Discovery on all podcast platforms. Looking for unique gifts that truly stand out? Then check out Korea Arts Prints Gifts on Etsy. At Korea Arts Prints Gifts on Etsy, you'll find a stunning collection of fine art prints as well as handmade gifts. Everything is crafted with love, passion, and a touch of soul. From breathtaking fantasy art to enchanting love and romance prints, each piece is thoughtfully created to both inspire and captivate. Korea Arts Prints Gifts on Etsy offer high-quality prints of original oil paintings. They're hand-retouched, making every print one of a kind. They're perfect for adding a personal touch to your home or gifting someone special. Whether it's music and dance, gothic art, fantasy art prints for women, or mythology art prints, there's something for everyone at Korea Arts Prints Gifts on Etsy. And make sure to do your holiday shopping there too. Visit the shop right now on Etsy at KoreaArtsPrintsGifts.etsy.com. That's Korea, K-R-I-Y-A, KoreaArtsPrintsGifts.etsy.com. Don't miss out on the best-selling prints and the handmade treasures, too. KoreaArtsPrintsGifts.etsy.com. Art that speaks to the heart. Are you looking for products that make life a little easier and a lot more comfortable? MindMeadow.shop blend practicality with comfort to enhance your everyday living. MindMeadow.shop have everything you need, too, from computer accessories and electronics to phone essentials. Every product is designed with quality, sustainability, and thoughtful details in mind. Make sure to explore their best-selling section to find exactly what you need at the best price. Sign up for the email list and enjoy free shipping on your first order and gain exclusive access to their best offers. MindMeadow.shop believe mindfulness and serenity can meet in the simple moments of daily life. Start shopping right now at MindMeadow.shop and experience the difference. You'll find the perfect gifts for the holiday season too for everyone on your gift-giving list. MindMeadow.shop, where mindfulness meets serenity. MindMeadow.shop.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. If you don't, follow me on YouTube, guys. Brian Craig Show on YouTube.
Yeah, you just did a really cool video on there that you should talk about. So
well,
you know, it's pretty awesome.
Obviously, I live stream every day on YouTube. I upload the podcast on YouTube. I'm always doing live streams talking about the issues, but I also like making vlogs. And I went yesterday to the bakery in Little Havana in Miami where President Trump went after he was indicted in the federal courthouse in Miami for that fake documents case when they broke into Mar-a-Lago. And I've wanted to go there for a while, and I took the Bright Line, which is the high-speed train in Florida, to Miami from our house. And what had happened was I've done a couple videos taking the high-speed train recently. I was going to, take our daughter to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando, and we got hit by that hurricane a few weeks back, so we had to cancel the trip. And I bought my I was going to take the high-speed train to Orlando because it's just fun to take. I like taking it better than driving. And they don't give you refunds. I had to cancel the trip because of the hurricane, so I had a credit. So I have all this credit. So I've been using the credit to take the high-speed train around South Florida. And I went to that Cuban bakery. And, I was talking – you can watch the video on my YouTube channel. And I was really surprised in front of this Cuban bakery across the street. They had all these Cuban exiles who were chanting to liberate Cuba.
People have been doing that since the 60s.
Yeah, since Castro took over.
And in that area.
I was surprised to see them there. I've seen people like that like on special occasions. You know what I drove by when I went there? I drove by Elian Gonzalez's house.
Wow.
Yeah, I recognized it because I'd been by there when it happened. But anyway, I've seen these Liberate Cuba people like on special occasions when there's an event. But just to see them on a regular Sunday, I was a little surprised, right? And I was talking in the video that if Kamala would have won, they were going to arrest Elon Musk, right? They were talking about it. Newsom was openly talking about it. Where would we have gone for freedom and to live in exile if the Democrats would have won? Because, if the Democrats would have won, we would have had a major loss of freedom in this country that we've never seen before. Earlier we were talking about this guy from Axios. They would have shut down Twitter. People like me and others like me and you guys out there that are conservative, you would not have been allowed to speak. It would have been really bad. It would have been a really bad time. Donald Trump saved us on so many levels. I don't know how much people fully appreciate that, and things have been going so fast. Maybe you just haven't had time to let it sink in. But
I think people are getting it. I mean, there's a store, I don't know where it is, but they have a Christmas display, and they have these robot mannequins doing the Trump dance.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's
really?
gone global. Yeah,
it's a like you can buy it as a.
Yeah, they're like wearing jackets in the display, and they're doing the Trump dance. These robots.
Oh my goodness!
It's crazy. I think people get it.
Maybe I should learn that.
because people, it's like they're breathing a sigh of relief, and it's like people are no longer living in fear. They're no longer living in the shadows. It's not that Trump won over the entire country. We always had his back. He did win over some people, but these are people that have been made to be afraid. They've been silenced. They've been bullied. They've been disenfranchised. We've had the crazy people in charge that have made us out to be bigots and racists. Like this woman, this Congressman Presley with the bald head, admonished a white guy for quoting Martin Luther King. I mean, is she insane?
Yeah, she's a crazy person.
Martin Luther King
she's crazy.
Said, don't judge a person by color, by the character of this and that. Martin Luther King admired Gandhi, okay? He wasn't even black. He was Indian. That's who he... If you go to his museum, he's all this Gandhi stuff. We went there. He's got his glasses and everything.
Sandals.
He admired the guy so much. And Martin Luther King didn't like admire another black. I mean, he did, but he looked up to an Indian man for
he
his
modeled
inspiration.
He modeled his movement after
peaceful
Gandhi.
Protesting.
Yeah.
And Martin Luther King would be sickened by her saying that to this white guy, like, how dare you speak? I mean, this is how these people are. How dare you speak his words because you're not black and you were born white? That is the craziest, most bigoted thing. Could you imagine him saying that to her if she quoted Shakespeare? How dare you quote Shakespeare?
The way she
You're
said
black.
The way she said it,
that's nuts.
Was like when Will Smith talked to Chris Rock. Don't have my wife's name in your mouth or whatever.
I mean, that is really the dumbest thing. This is what people are sick of. That if you're white, you can't quote anybody of color, or if you're a person of color, you can't quote a white person.
You know what you're seeing. What you're
nuts.
seeing in the country. It's like with the athletes and all this stuff, all that weirdness with the athletes. what you're seeing
now they're doing the Trump dance.
is you're seeing the country, a lot of people in the country have been keeping their mouths shut.
That's right.
And
Out of fear.
have been afraid to express themselves because of the cancel culture.
Look at Merrick Garland went after parents, and they were taking down driver's license plates like The Godfather,
and when you
said.
You see these people lately like Presley or Jasmine Crockett or The View or Rachel Maddow, and they're talking with all of this weird stuff. It's so I've never seen something go out of date so quick, right? It's like they're talking.
Overnight.
It's like the country has rejected them, and they really – I'm not saying that they didn't sound crazy to me before. They did. But Rachel Maddow and The View, they sound crazy to most people today. And most of those people were keeping their opinions to themselves about them because they were afraid. There was this illusion that The View and these others were the majority. Like when I went to Miami yesterday, I know Miami went Republican, but Miami is huge. And yesterday, when I went to Miami, was the first time I went to Miami wearing a MAGA hat. I never wore a MAGA hat in Miami before, unless I was going to like a special Trump event. Okay, I'm talking about like because I was on the train. I'm going through I'm in downtown Miami, walking around. Before it was dangerous to do that, or at least I thought it was dangerous to do that, right? And when I wore my MAGA hat through all of Miami yesterday, I didn't get one negative comment. In the past, I would have. And when I've gone to Fort Lauderdale with the MAGA hat, where it's a different country now because people realize most Americans love this country and don't think about it in all these negative ways. I want to
no, that's true.
I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program.
It's like everybody's been set free.
Absolutely. And of course, if you're a Patreon supporter, all Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of our podcast episodes. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P., Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R., and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you for your support. And again, if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of all of our episodes. So Anthony Blinken, he's the Secretary of State. He announced. You would think this was a joke, but it's not. He announced that the State Department is hosting in-house therapy sessions after the win of President Trump. Now, I've heard of these, Democrat support groups after elections, but to have the State Department doing it? I mean, the State Department are supposed to be tough people that are representing and fighting for America, on all these issues, and they're that weak.
It just occurred to me, therapy sessions could be a code word for something else.
Like what?
Document shredding?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, seriously, they could be a ruse for what's really going on. Like, you know what I mean? So, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's amazing how, like Rob Reiner, I read, checked himself into a facility to get peace because he cannot get Trump out of his mind. He has to go and get deprogrammed, basically, so he's to help with his obsession with Donald Trump. I don't understand. I love Trump and everything, but I'm not obsessed with Trump. I don't think about him 24/7 or dream about the guy. I love the guy. I support the guy. But, and we do a podcast, Brian does a show. A big part of our life revolves around Trump, that's for sure, and talking about Trump. But I can do other things. Somebody like Rob Reiner, his entire life and existence revolves around Donald Trump. And hating Trump. That's what Steve Garvey said to Adam Schiff. He said, your entire life revolves around destroying one person. You have an obsession, and it's not healthy, and it's weird. These people have an unhealthy, sick obsession, like Joy Reid. Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Hostin, with Trump. He lives rent-free in their head. And now that he won, they can't cope. They can't cope with it. And so Rob Reiner, and I'm sure he's not the only one, Ellen DeGeneres had to leave the country. She was so freaked out. I don't get it, but it shows you how the brainwashing by the media really affects people and damages lives. Now, I'm sure Rob Reiner, I'm not defending him. I'm sure he's a kook anyway, and he's such a liberal nutcase and unhinged to begin with. So this Trump figure just allowed him to latch all of that onto somebody, and he put it all on Trump. But what does it mean about you as a person that if somebody wins an election, you have to go to a therapy retreat to cope?
This is what
that is just crazy to me.
This is what I don't understand about
learn about detachment.
Some of these people, like Rob Reiner. Okay, now Joy Reid and Sonny Hostin and some of these others, if Kamala would have won, they would be staying in the Lincoln bedroom. Okay, so one of the things that has some people like them upset,
they lose access.
They've lost their access,
right?
Like
Joe Scarborough.
Forever. Yes, exactly. Rob Reiner is another deal. Okay, this is what I don't get. If Kamala would have won, oh my goodness, life would have. I would have continued to do what we're doing here. It wouldn't have been as much fun, but I'd still be doing it.
I would have dreaded it.
But there's very specific things that you can point to with Kamala Harris. I'll tell you a couple that would be very destructive. This open border thing that they're doing. How many people are dead? Like Lincoln Riley, because of her, and they would have quadrupled down on the invasion of the country as an example. Okay, they would have escalated this war in Ukraine to have another major European conflict. The Trump tax cuts will expire, and they were going to let them expire, which means all of our taxes would have gone up. I can point to very specific things, and I could spend a whole show just going through them. If Kamala would have won, these terrible things would have happened, and it would have been difficult. With Trump, what I would challenge Rob Reiner to do is give me a list of things in his life that are going to be affected in a negative way because Trump won and Kamala lost. I'd love to hear that.
He might get his gardener and his housekeepers deported or something.
And he might have to
afford to hire
legal people or Americans.
You know, it's.
And I think he would struggle.
I know what you're saying.
He wouldn't be able to think of anything in his life that will be affected in a negative way because of Trump.
Trump winning is. It's like biblical.
It's amazing.
I read
it's
the Bible
total miracle.
Almost every night, and it's amazing if you read the Bible. This is the result of millions of people praying for this person. Millions of people, not just here, around the world, praying for this man for years and years and years. Jesus says, where two or more of you are gathered, I will listen. This is millions of people praying to protect Trump. That's why he's alive, to make sure he gets acquitted of these things, for these false allegations. And it's happening. Prayers are being answered. This is the result of prayers. It's amazing to me. And I said to you the other day, I said we are witnessing God's hand in this, and it's incredible. I mean, I can tell you, I have gone to bed many nights praying for Trump, and I know you have too. Please, especially about his safety, the safety of his family, and anytime there were charges brought up, I'd be like, God, please don't let this guy end up in jail. I know this is not true. You know, God knows the truth. God knows the truth. And he is exposing the lies now. They're all going to be exposed. And that is part of the reason he put Trump back in, is to expose these people and to show the world what they've been up to. Because they're not going to be able to hide from this now. They're not going to be able to hide from this. It's all going to come out. The truth is going to come out. And then you see with Kennedy, which happened so long ago, we might get some answers on that. A lot of things might come to light. And it's like God is put his foot down, and he's just like, that's enough. This is a country that prays to me. They believe in me, and I'm going to protect them. You know, I mean, how many people pray for Trump, pray for America? Christians, Jewish, even Muslims. We all have the same God. We all pray to the same God. That I saw a video of people in India I don't even know anything about their religion, were saying prayers for Trump, that he would get elected. People around the world, they have prayers in England. I saw a huge prayer right before the election at a protest. Thousands of people in England saying a prayer for Donald Trump. It is amazing to me. And I think after he was shot, it was an absolute game changer. It like woke people up out of their liberal coma. And it woke a lot of people up that were on the fence.
And the second time at the golf course, that was just enough. That was just
they're
people
just
like,
all right, this is it. I mean, they've gone too far. You know, I can tolerate so much. This is it. I mean, you know, now you're trying to kill the guy. I mean, that's just crazy.
Twice.
It made them look like what they are. Dangerous, radical people that will stop at nothing to get their way. But you know what? God always wins. And God... Trump's winning, we're winning, and God is making sure that. So when you say your prayers, you need to thank God. And I have thanked him for answering prayers because these are prayers that are answered, guys. You need to thank God for answering these prayers because without his intervention, things would be very different right now. Very different.
And you know,
all the people that prayed over Trump, laid hands on Trump, God was listening.
And he dodged that bullet, you know, and everyone's talking.
Amazing.
Everyone's talking about Bobby Kennedy with the FDA and all this stuff. But when Trump had Bobby Kennedy at that Trump rally, the first rally, he said he was going to be in charge of this committee investigating presidential assassinations, which will be President Kennedy's assassination and then the attempts on Trump. I hope that doesn't get forgotten. I don't think it will for Trump. I'm not going to go through this right now because I did on one of my YouTube live streams this morning, but Bobby Kennedy gave an interview with Bill Maher. You guys should look this up. It's Bobby Kennedy being interviewed by Bill Maher when he first was running for president.
Very interesting.
And it's not on that HBO show. It's the show that Bill Maher
Club
does.
Random.
Club Random when he's high. And Bobby Kennedy shared something I never knew before. And Bill Maher was too high to appreciate it. He was smoking a big doobie at the time. But Sirhan did not shoot Bobby Kennedy. And I always thought that he did. And so did Bobby Kennedy. And he talks about how a CIA operative who was working as his dad's security guard shot him from behind. And I'm not going to go through it.
It's very interesting.
Go and look up the Club Random interview with Bill Maher of Bobby Kennedy talking about it. It blew my mind. And I don't know a single person at all that does not think that our government tried to kill President Trump in Butler and at the golf course. I don't know. Do you know anybody that, you guys listening, do you know anyone who thinks different? I don't know anyone
even
who
liberals
does.
think it because they're upset that they didn't complete their mission.
So
they think the government did it.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Everybody believes it.
Everybody does.
And I know people think that about the Kennedys, but did they think it right after? I wasn't alive and then, you know, okay, I was born in 1971. But I don't think people thought the government was behind it for a few years. There might have been one or two people here and there, but I don't think it was like a mainstream thing. When I say I don't know anyone, everyone in America believes that the U.S. government tried to assassinate Trump in Butler and at the golf course because he was winning the election. Everybody believes that, and everybody can't be wrong. Right? You know, and there's a reason why people believe that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people on both sides believe it, and some are unhappy that it wasn't accomplished.
That's what really did them in. I mean, Trump was going to win anyway, but that's what really red-pilled so many people.
It did.
Was Butler, and then because I remember
I felt that things had changed after that.
You know, when the golf, this is the thing. Okay, we were all watching on Right Side when they shot Trump in Butler, which was crazy, and
that's why people are sick of the media too. I mean, they're like stoking these flames.
And it was so crazy and insane. But when it happened a second time at the golf course here in Florida. I mean, I remember I called Steve Kane. I said they tried to shoot Trump again. He's like, what? I said, no, they tried to shoot Trump again here in Florida. He's like, what? He couldn't believe it. I was like, no, yeah. And it is crazy, but it's true.
It is scary. I remember I had said to you a year or so ago, I said, I'm not comfortable with Trump playing golf. I said, it's very open. You know, I'm familiar with golf courses in Florida, and There's just a little bit of wooded area around them typically. We don't live in the woods. We live in the Everglades here, okay? It's all been knocked over and it's all buildings and just nice trees, palm trees. But a golf course here, they're like on main roads. You know what I mean? It's not like they're up in the mountains or the hills or in some off place. There's not a lot of space down here in South Florida and Palm Beach. It's very built up. So the golf courses are not tucked away. They're all usually along main roads. And I just said to you, I just am not comfortable with him being out here in the open.
We don't see him playing golf now.
No, he plays golf now at he played golf with his granddaughter last week, but I think it's at some other very hidden away place. But I just was uncomfortable with him being out in the open like that because I worried about somebody just coming through the fence and climbing over a fence, or I didn't think it would ever happen, but when it did, I was like, not horribly. I mean, it was horrible, but I wasn't like surprised. I was like, yeah, it's pretty easy to get to these golf courses down here. But I'm thankful that the Secret Service saw him. Thank God.
And then there was he had a mechanic after the shooting.
I mean, it was like just a fence. He pushed his gun through. It's crazy.
So think about this, guys. They tried to kill him twice a few months ago, at least twice.
Yep.
Okay.
Got very close.
And now he's coming in as their boss. This thing with Jack Smith dismissing these charges, these people must be in a complete panic. You know what? What it's like for these people. That's why they need the
therapy there.
It's like Downfall, that movie about the last days of Hitler and the Nazis, or
yes, in the bunker.
These people have been deposed, and I don't think.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
We realize the panic that's going on in the deep state and in the media and all of this. It must be very frightening when they've done everything they've done to this guy. Now, I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. Tom Laporta is a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. If you just need a simple repair, he will do it. He covers the entire state of Florida. He works with every type of roofing material and on every type of structure, both residential and commercial, as well as municipal. And he can handle the job of any size, no matter how small or large. If it's a small single-family home like Kathy and I have, or it's a condominium community with 200 buildings, he can handle it. It's really amazing. And I've seen his work. He redid the roof on Steve's house. That's how we met Tom Laporta. And he turned Steve's house into that house that everybody on the block stops to look at. It's
your
just,
roof makes such
a beautiful
difference,
house.
Yeah, on the way your house looks.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know, what do you call it? The showpiece of the street. It's not a conversation piece. I can't remember the term, but that's what Steve's house is like now. In fact, Steve's house, Steve lives in a very nice neighborhood, but all the houses are built the same. And before Tom Laporta redid Steve's roof, I always had a hard time finding Steve's house because all the houses look alike. Now, it stands out. I know it's the showstopper. It's right there. That's Steve's house. The showstopper of the street.
Yeah.
I can always tell because of the
does
great job he did on the roof.
He does beautiful work.
So
and the roofs are beautiful and safe and secure. That's the most important thing.
Now give him a call. He gives out his cell phone number to our listeners. Okay, but when you go to his website, you don't see the cell phone number there. The cell phone number is only for our listeners, both here on the podcast, on my YouTube channel, and on the radio. So when I give out the cell phone number, you're not going to find this on his website. I'm going to give you the website, but you should just call or text him directly. His number is 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. Or you can go to his website, LaportaRoofing.com. All right.
I wanted to show you one thing. It's official.
Oh my goodness.
AP, it's official.
So
Just found out.
The judge in the J6 case, the judge has granted Jack Smith's request to dismiss the case against President Trump.
It's official. I'm sure they're having a big party at Mar-a-Lago tonight.
These people, the judge, the prosecutors, they should all be arrested for what they've done.
That's huge. Okay, so the case in New York right now has been postponed indefinitely, whatever that means. This has been totally dismissed now. So this was the case that was supposed to go to the Fort Pierce judge, Eileen Cannon.
No, the Cannon case. The Cannon case. That's gone.
That's gone. So which one was this?
This is the J6 case in D.C.
Okay, so that's 2 out of the 4 that are completely
They're
done
all gone.
now.
They're all gone.
What's the 4th one? Then?
Well, the
It's hard to
state
keep track.
The state cases. These are not the state cases. The
Okay.
federal cases are now all done.
Great.
Okay. What's left now is Fannie Willis in Georgia and the New York State case.
Okay.
The federal cases are all done.
Can the governor do anything for these cases or no? Can he intervene? Like, could Kemp
governors
say, dismiss it or
pardon. They could pardon.
Well, why
Judges
doesn't
could
he
pardon.
do that?
Because Kemp is a creep.
I mean, you got to ask
Kemp
yourself,
is a
if you
creep.
live in
I
Georgia,
don't
why the
trust
hell
Kemp.
doesn't the governor pardon Trump?
Kemp could stop these Trump cases in Georgia. The Trump
That's what
case
I mean.
in Georgia.
Exactly.
Because you can't trust Kemp. He's a jerk.
No, you can't.
I know he pretends to like Trump, but he has a fantasy that he's going to be president.
Never going to happen.
And so he thinks that MAGA people are stupid, and that if he pretends to like Trump, we'll vote for him. That ain't going to happen.
No.
It's not
But
going to
he
happen.
would have the power to pardon him from these.
He could pardon Trump and end it, yeah. And he could also pardon all those people that pled out and everything else.
Exactly. I mean, we know Hochul's not going to do that, but he could do that.
Hochul could do the same thing in New York.
But she wouldn't.
No, because she's
But Kemp
a jerk.
is a supposedly Republican, and he actually did a few things with Trump during this campaign. You got to ask yourself, why the hell doesn't he do it?
And you know what? If these cases were state cases in Florida, even Ron DeSantis, as bad as he was running against Trump, I think he would end them.
Absolutely.
He would end the
I agree
Florida
with you on
cases,
that.
DeSantis.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
at this point he would. He may not have during the primaries because he thought that was his road to the nomination.
It just shows you that Kemp is still
You can't trust Kemp.
deep in the deep state.
You cannot trust
No.
Kemp. Well, listen, we're out of time for today. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host